The great quality of the product comes from the great technology behind its process. Also for the mining smelter industries, particularly in nickel, that's really happening to be discussed at the moment. As we all know, the demand forecast of electric vehicles was rapidly growing in the future, and we cannot separate them with the nickel as the raw material for the batteries of electric vehicles. Many of technology already developed, but only some of them shown to proven the hydrometallurgy process. And in this place, the research and development has been developed since the latest 7 years and already success to create it and patent it, the new breakthrough technology that able to extract the nickel with the low grade of nickel. Then the question arises, what is the scenario planning that appropriate to the company? We are here to define its answer and also try to observe what are the possibility and challenge that company would be faced, and finally comes up with conclusion and several recommendations in order to remain company business sustainability. We are Syndicate 6 in the course of decision making and negotiation from the Bandung Institute of Technology. Stay tuned. Technology company for nickel smelter industries is structurally under their holding company, or we can call the group. The group itself has been established since 1970 as battery producer for combustion engine vehicles. The business continuously grew and became the biggest automotive battery exporter in period 1990s. In 2009, the group expanded their business differentiation to the mining and mineral smelter, refinery, and plastic industries as used for the main material of the battery. In line with the vision to become green energy company, the group also found the renewable energy business and storage solution and become the pioneer who produce solar for industries, home user, and storage solution for public facilities. Up to this point, we can see that the group are very focused on the renewable energy business from upstream to downstream. Nowadays, the pace of technology change is rapidly growing, and also the demand for the renewable energy such as electric vehicles or EV. The positive projection of EV cannot be separated with the nickel as their main materials for EV batteries that would likely have the exponential growth for such kind of business. The group has been anticipating this since the last decade and has been developed the new technology that able to extract and to process low grade of nickel for the smelter industry through the hydrometallurgy process. Looking ahead as the great opportunity, the technology has been patented and held by the group subsidiary, or we can call the company, that founded in the third quarter of 2020. The company focused in developing and processing of technology for the mine resources with environmentally friendly and also for the appropriate waste management system in related field. The company vision is to become Indonesian asset in processing of metals and minerals, while the company mission is to keep innovating in hydrometallurgy that can process wide range of minerals effectively, efficiently, and more important, environmentally friendly. The next discussion will be even more interesting. We want to take you into the scenario planning of the company.
Hi guys, in defining the skill planning for the company, according to a professor from Harvard Business School named David A. Garvey, and a consultant and researcher from Boston named Sir Levesque, there are five scenario planning stages. First is orientation, where the company will define the background research, the scope, and the key focal issue. And then the company will go to the second stage, which is exploration, where the company will define and identify the driving forces and, and the critical uncertainties and make an additional research for each driving forces. After all has been done, the company will go to the third stage, the scenario and the narrative creation, where the company will make a selection of of critical uncertainties as a scenario framework, and based on that will make a scenario analysis. From that, the company will go to this fourth stage, which is consequences and option consideration, where the company will consider each scenario that has been made and the consequences of the scenario of each scenario. And the last is five stage, the integration and early warning indicators, where the company will integrate the scenarios into the management process and make an early warning indicators for each scenario. Well, that is the five scenario planning stages. Now I will explain to you the first stage, orientation. In the orientation, the key focal issue of the company shareholder is the technology of the nickel smelting process and the business challenge on its industry. Why? There are several starting points that led to the question why the company chose it as the key focal issue. First is the booming of electrical vehicle, which Bloomberg estimates that will reach 1,000 crores in the next 10 years. Amazing, right? And did you know that around 40% of the cost of the electronic vehicle is coming from the electronic batteries, which mostly consists of nickel as the raw material. And you said that? Not that. Then we will go to the second point, where based on the US geological survey in the early 2020, Indonesia has the largest nickel resources in the world. Now you know, right? And the third point, and the third point is right now there are many technologies uh, regarding nickel smelting process that are quite expensive, and the company are introducing a new technology of nickel smelting process that are proclaimed to have the highest, no, sorry, I mean the lowest capex among the other technology processes. But there are some potential challenges that are with the company also found that could impact the businesses. Generally, it's about macroeconomics and three barrier social issues or and conditions, politics and technical. Based on those the key focal issues of with the company shareholder is technology of nickel smelting process and business challenge on its industry. Now we will explain further regarding this scenario in the next scenario.
Scenario planning is a process to better prepare an organization for the future. We do the scenario planning exercise by first conducting analysis to understand the major force that might have moved the world in different direction. This process requires us to gather about the organization stakeholder, customer, competitor, supplier, and future trends. In stage 2, our syndicate identified the driving force based on key success factor and other external factors such as political affairs, economy, social dynamic, technology, environment, and legal aspects are also known as pestle analysis. As seen on this slide, we map the driving force into three categories. Organization environment that consists of organization management capability, organization structure, management strategy and vision, and shareholder support and commitment. Transactional environment that consists of EV battery demand, nickel supply and demand, nickel price volatility, technology pilot project, waste management system accreditation, fund strategy, and low capex investment. The last is contextual environment that consists of government regulation, economy and politic condition, and Indonesia nickel reserve. Next, the driving force is further divided into two categories, predetermined and uncertain. Predetermined forces are virtually inevitable. They are unlikely to change radically over the different time frame. Once the predetermined factors have been identified, all the other driving forces are classified as uncertain. Some of these uncertain forces are more important than others. As you can see on the slide, those uncertain driving forces that are most likely to define or significant change of the way of future unfold around the key focal issue are ranked by level of uncertainty, influential, and informative are defined as critical uncertain. In the slide, it is the orange dot. In this case, there are EV battery demand forecast, nickel price volatility, technology pilot project, economic and politic condition. This critical uncertainty will be the basis for the next stage to determine axis of uncertainty and make the framework for scenario creation.
Stage 3. Scenario creation and characteristic. The different futures that result from the interaction of the critical selected uncertainty are called as scenario. There are plausible alternative hypotheses about how the world might unfold. The effective scenario challenges the thinking of participants by instilling a deeper appreciation of the manufacture that could shape the future. And of course, there are no right or wrong scenario. Narrative each scenario is then fleshed out and woven into a narrative or story. The story must be logically coherent and consistent. It is also important to link the scenario back to the present by answering one question. How did the world get from here to there? This link increases the probability that scenario will be perceived as realistic rather than as far-fetched stuff exercise. Now, we are going to go to fourth scenario. The first step here is identifying the driving forces. The top of the graph is positive business and innovation environment, and the other way around show conversely. The other driving force that we have is company competitiveness. On the left, basically like the status quo, we have costly and mediocre solution. While on the right, the company has shown that they are proven and leading the solution. Moving on to the scenario. The first scenario is in the upper right, great era of EV. We want to highlight that the future could be described as the pilot project is successful, the GDP growth is getting high, and the capex is also getting low. Down below it, we have second scenario, which is wait for the spotlight. The story that we have woven is that the demand of nickel is still low, political instability along with the forex volatility. Scenario is in the upper left, pressure cooker. This is the condition where the competitiveness of the company is getting low, while the business and innovation environment show positivity. The condition is marked as an existence of lower cost solution from the competitor as the entry barrier is not difficult. The company failed to scale up while the technology is on the rapid pace. The last scenario is in the lower left hand corner. which is EV downfall. What's happening here? Well, the growth of GDP is slower, the technology is obsolete, and the new competitors are coming.
After we identify the scenarios and understand the scenario based on the narrative as explained previously by my colleague, we will return back to the key focal issue, technology of nickel smelting process and the business challenges in each industry. We already placed the company within each scenario, and now we explore the implication of each alternative future. By using this exercise, we understand the company's strengths and vulnerabilities, alternative strategies, and options to address the gap in capabilities, as well as necessary actions and critical decisions and choices. In the great era of EV scenario, the company will raise funds to accelerate business growth and scale up the pilot project. Afterwards, the company also needs to continuously develop new technology to maintain competitiveness, using the fund for business expansion through acquisition. When growth is beginning to stabilize, the company can increase their own equity to obtain lower internal rate of return and increase the return for company shareholders. If the company is in the wait for spotlight scenario, the weak macroeconomics and market environment condition mean the company needs to do more risk management strategy, such as forex hedging, finding new market sources, and switching or broadening the technology usage for other minerals beside nickel. The company can also ask for government support in the form of incentives and tax exemption in order to go through this turbulent time. Next, what should the company do if the scenario is pressure cooker scenario, which is characterized by high competition and better solutions available in the market? The company needs to do a cost efficiency initiative and allocates its resources to find new technology to create better solutions for the market. Some strategic partnerships with technology companies can also be an option to accelerate company competitiveness. Lastly, the company also needs to do fundraising in order to get the necessary fund to execute those options. Lastly is the options available if the company in the EV downfall scenarios. The company needs to do organizational efficiency, cut loss for some projects, recalculate again the cost of capital and ask for shareholder loan, as it might be hard for the company to do fundraising with this scenario. This loan will be used to find other new technology for the company to develop. So in summary, the stage 4 exercise helped us to identify what the company needs to do, what options are available for the company for each scenario. Now, we are better prepared to face each possible future for the company. Next, we will go to the next stage, which is stage 5, the integration.
Now we are entering stage 5, integration and early warning indicators. In this stage, we will look over the indicators for each scenario. First scenario, great era of EV. The indicators in this scenario are the technology that the company offered is already proven by the independent valuator. More and more investment is coming into the nickel industry. The stock price of the company is keep increasing. The EV demand is rapidly increased. Also, there is a tax incentive as well as land and infrastructure support from the government. Second, wait for spotlight. We can say that the company is in this scenario if there is a trade wars between Indonesia and other trading nations. High exchange rate, high interest rate. Also, this scenario may happen during the election year or if there are so many unrest. This scenario can be happen if there is a substitute goods of the nickel entering the market. Third scenario is EV downfall. Some leading indicators for this scenario are EV failed to become a new trend. No investment increase in the nickel industry as well as the nickel technology, economic recession, low demand in all business sectors, or new technology are invented, or new technology from competitors. The last scenario is pressure cooker. The company can be in this scenario if the nickel price is tend to be consistent due to the same growth of the supply and demand of the nickel. The increasing number of the competitors, while the competitors are also taking over the company's market. And if there are so many smelting technology are invented, this 5 stage of scenario planning is not a one-time event. It has to be woven into the senior management decision making. While doing the integration, senior management has to monitor the environment through an early warning system by look over the indicators and use the scenario to guide them to make a decision. If there is a change of the condition in the market, then the senior management as well as the company have to be agile. They have to apply new solution based on the indicators, based on the scenario that we have explained both in the stage 4 and stage 5.
From the 5 stages previously explained, we can conclude that the scenario planning could be able to provide the clear picture on how and what the company have to do in order to face the negative situation that possible could be happen. Or likewise, even the positive situation could be less from nothing if the company do not know what should they do when they come into the comfort zone. We expect this case study would provide you more insight in the course of decision making and negotiation. Finally, this is the end of our syndicate work. Always remember to face your future, because the bright future comes from the good planning that you prepare. And the good planning depends on the tools and how deep you build the potential event on each scenario. We are Syndicate 6. Thank you for watching.